I know I'm a little late to this, but the 2024 Metro Manila Film Fest Best Picture winner Green Bones is still showing in cinemas, so here's my review of Green Bones. All I have to say is well deserved. The hype this movie got was truly well deserved because this movie was great and it did not disappoint. When I first saw the trailer for this movie, I thought it gave off the same vibes as another movie with green in its title, Green Mile. A story about a prison guard meeting a criminal charged with murder and learning that there might be more than meets the eye with this supposed criminal sounded pretty familiar to me. And while there are similarities, Green Bones was able to set itself apart and be its own thing, and I really like that. First up, the cast was great. Everybody here did a good job. Even the guy from Bubble Gang was great as this abusive prison warden, which I wasn't expecting. But obviously, the two best performances of this movie comes from our two leads, Ruru Madrid and Dennis Trillo. Ruru Madrid plays Xavier Gonzaga, a young new prison guard still mourning the loss of his sister, tasked with looking after the prisoners of San Fabian. To put it simply, Ruru's character is kinda like Batman from the Batman. He has a black and white view of justice. He even says in his opening monologue that he believes there's only good and bad people, nothing in between. He's so eager to fight crime, and when he's beating up criminals, he thinks of his sister who was murdered. He feels as though that through punishing criminals, he's avenging people like his sister. And Ruru plays this character really well. He's someone who's boiling with rage inside, but he plays this character in a way that doesn't seem malicious in intent, because through his actions and performance, you know that deep down he's a good person and he's just trying to do the right thing. Or at least his version of what he thinks the right thing is. And that's a very fine line to walk, and I thought Ruru did it gracefully. I don't watch that crocodile teleserye he's on, so this is the first time I'm being exposed to his acting. And usually when you're a young actor in a teleserye, let's be honest, you get cast because you look like you could model for bench and not so much for your acting. Just keeping it real with ya. But through his performance in this movie, I think Ruru's one of the few teleserye actors who can actually act. Dennis Trillo plays Dom Zamora, a man sentenced to prison in San Fabian for murdering his sister and his niece. But as Gonzaga and the audience comes to find in this movie, there's more to his story than we were led to believe. Dennis Trillo's Best Actor win was truly well deserved because in this movie, much like Ruru, he gives a very layered performance. There's a fine line he walks as he plays the rugged, petty street thief who you would buy as someone who could end up in prison for murder, but he also plays this other, softer side to Dom Zamora which shines through when he's with certain characters in the movie. Both sides of Dom Zamora were played with such authenticity and so naturally by Dennis Trillo. Now I think the true hero of this movie is the script, because this movie has a great script. I mean, what do you expect from Ricky Lee, right? I think starting off the movie from the perspective of Gonzaga and then at the second half tell it from the perspective of Dom was genius, and it blended so well and so naturally. I also thought the dialogue was smart and it doesn't treat its audience like idiots. If there's anything I hate in Filipino movies, well, any movie in general, but it's a more prevalent problem in local movies, it's really bad exposition dialogue. I hate when Filipino movies feel the need to explain themselves and pander to its audience like they're 5-year-olds. A recent example I could think of is the movie And the Breadwinner Is. That movie starts off with a 5-minute narration from Vice Ganda explaining to the audience what a breadwinner is, and I hate when local movies do that. Like, we get it, you discovered the word breadwinner yesterday. So I'm really glad that Green Bones doesn't have that problem. The script is so full of layers and the characters actually grow throughout this movie. They don't stay the same and you can see and feel the growth and change they went through by the end. Gonzaga's black and white version of justice is challenged throughout this movie. Dom Zamora's true character is slowly revealed. There's also some really great commentary in this movie about the failures of the justice system, which I thought was great. Overall, I think unlike other films from the Metro Manila Film Fest that were overhyped by the early reviews, this one truly deserved the hype it got. The movie was well written with characters full of layers, great performances, and masterfully directed by Zig Dulay. Both Zig Dulay and Pepe Jokno are 2 for 2 in my opinion because both of them came out with great films last year. And now they're back with yet another great set of films. I also have to mention this real quick. I think Zig Dulay has quite the talent for casting and directing kids in his movies, because all of the child actors he's gotten so far are truly great performers. Last year it was Ewan Mikael with Firefly. Now it's Sienna Stevens with this movie. One of the many plagues of Philippine cinema, in my opinion, is bad child acting. I think it's because a lot of presumably middle-aged executives think that child actors should only act like they're always in a commercial because they think it's cute or whatever. You know the type I'm talking about. Thank you po! Wow, ang galing! But whenever it's a Zig Dulay project, it's a relief not to see any kids with commercial-level acting. So yeah, go watch Green Bones. If you haven't seen this one yet, I think you still have up until January 28 to watch the 2024 Metro Manila Film Fest entries. And if you were to ask me which ones to go watch, I'd say Isang Himala and Green Bones.